Welcome, filthy disgustos with footy socks for boobs, those who like to live in squalor and keep it in the family, if you know what I mean, and to our friends in Port Adelaide, who like to suffocate feral cats and grope random birds at the bakery between sets at the pub. This is SIDEBOOB Cinema, your podcast within a podcast. My name is Ricky Allpike, and joining me are my fellow Aussie legends, AJ and Jonathan Astro. AJ, are you ready for a romantic date night movie?
I made Frank watch it on his birthday.
You did not.
I'm a bad guy.
John,
did you take your medicine happily this week?
You know what, Ricky? This is a tough watch, and I know we shouldn't blame others, but I was thinking of you throughout the film, saying, why have I got to watch this fucking movie again? Fucking Ricky. Fuck that guy. So it was tough.
That's why I pushed it to Frank's birthday. It was the last possible moment.
I did the same.
Pushing.
I did the same.
And that's what he got for his birthday.
Had he seen it previously?
Yeah, we'd watched it a couple of years back.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But is it fair to say, I mean, by the way, everyone, we're watching Bad Boy Bubby 1993, directed by Rolf de Heer, written by Rolf de Heer. So... is this an unrecommendable movie?
No.
You just cannot recommend this to anyone.
You can't recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
But you can recommend it to some people.
Who, though?
I kind of forgot the good parts.
You only remembered the gross stuff.
Definitely. And then I was like, oh, the music.
I like to recommend it to people I don't like.
Mm.
Hey, that's why you're a bad guy.
But everyone has seen, Ricky raised this point just before recording, that I think everyone has seen this movie before. So
yeah,
multiple times.
This is a repeat viewing.
Yeah, and like you were saying last week, John, that about movies being in your family, this was in my family. Because my dad let my brother watch it at such a young age.
Wow.
Right.
And it's fucking straight into it.
Yeah.
Like it's you could have definitely turned this one off after 2 minutes.
It doesn't even have a fade in.
No.
There's no fade in. It just goes boop. There it is.
Straight into incest.
Yes. I know. If you were a parent and you just popped it on, you would you would just have to wait 10 seconds and you're like, oh, I think we should turn this one off.
But he didn't.
Wow. That's 80s parenting right there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, interestingly, I suppose we've got our own stories with our encounters with the film, but this is one of those movies that in the playground, maybe it was early high school when you're still a bit of a kid. It's one of those movies that someone explained in great detail. You know, there are some movies that some kids say, yeah, and anyway, and then he puts cling wrap on a cat, and then next, and they step through the whole thing, and it's like you've seen it. So for a long time, I hadn't seen it, but I had.
I think I was like that too.
The oral tradition. They just like the Odyssey was told. Someone told me Bad Boy Bubby.
So it's also one of those movies where it's like upmanship, It's like, oh, you've seen this disgusting movie. Oh, well, have you seen that one?
Yes.
Have you seen Bad Boy Bubby?
Actually, we are getting ahead of ourselves, but it won't come up again, I'm sure. In the 90s, that was a thing. That is a feature of 90s cinema and screen arts, is that there were a range of films that were really pushing the boundaries, and this is one of them. I think of other films, Man Bites Dog, Kids. It could be anything like that. I mean, it just goes on and on. Everyone was really pushing it. The audiences were pushing each other. The filmmakers were pushing each other, and I guess I'll probably touch on it maybe a bit later. But this type of the causes and conditions that create this type of movie aren't around anymore. So there's not like when you watch Netflix, despite some people saying, "Oh yeah, there's heaps of dark stuff on Netflix," you go, "Not dark like this."
Yeah,
not like this.
That ticks all of these boxes.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
We've got everything that is, I mean, animal cruelty, disabled people being like just wheeled in and, whatever we're doing with them. We've got BBW, like just old BBW stuff, incest, abuse, pissing, killing, you know.
Yeah.
It's all in there. The gang's all there. And like, do you know what we don't even count? Because we're sort of, in Australia, everyone's secular and stuff. We don't even count the sacrilegious stuff.
Yes, yes.
When we bother, we just go, anyway, there's a bit. Whereas there's a generation or two above would be like, that's the worst stuff. And you go, no, I was thinking more about the fucking big titties. That was really bad. That was real bad.
At first, he did seem to spend a lot of time alone. Mum looked after him. Although sometimes she called him her bad boy Bubby. And there was always Cat to play with. Then one day...
Hey, son, you can call me Pop.
Pop came back, and everything changed.
Pop. All right, don't go making a big thing of it.
Bad boy Bubby went on a voyage of discovery. And the world he confronted was funny.
Get off the road, you fucking whooped bastard!
Tragic, loving, and hateful.
Get off the fucking road, you fucking greedy bastard! Oh, shit!
Honest and hypocritical.
God doesn't like fat people.
And totally unlike any you've ever seen before.
God, you've got great tits. Great big whoppers of things.
We proudly present an extraordinary film by Rolf de Heer, starring Nicholas Hope as Bad Boy Bubby, and delightfully supported by Claire Benito, Ralph Cottrell, and Carmel Johnson. Bad Boy Bubby.
All right, look, I gotta read the synopsis, okay? So you gotta just stick with me. All right, you ready? We open in a dirty apartment and meet Bubby, Nicholas Hope, and his mother Flo. It's an unconventional setup, and Bubby is clearly look, AJ, he's got issues. Is what I'm going to say. But it's understandable because when we see his mother is a religious kook who sexually and physically abuses him on the reg. Big Flo has also lied to Bubby, telling him that he can never leave his home as the outside world is filled with poison gas. So she's gaslighting him. When Bubby's old man, Harold, rolls back into their lives after 35 years, new tensions arise. Harold takes up again with Flo and begins to sling his own brand of abuse at Bubby also. Bubby can't take it anymore, so one night when they return drunk, he puts cling wrap over their faces and kills them. He ventures outside into the big wide world and happens upon a Salvation Army band and is raced off by one of the naughty band members. He wanders around town after that, having all sorts of awkward and negative interactions with people that he meets, shop attendants, policemen, people at the bakery, regular citizens. He's given a lift by a rock band, and he hits it off quite well with them, actually. They're quite loose and bohemian, so it all kind of works. Bubby informs them that he's the cling wrap killer, and after some deliberation, the band decide to drop him off at a well-off mate of theirs. I think his name is a guy called Dan. We all need a Dan in our lives. I liked him.
He was very calm.
He was very calm. So Dan takes Bubby out to dinner and a show, which is nice, but Bubby grabs a tit and gets arrested, which can happen.
He does a lot of that.
He does.
I didn't even mention the tit grabbing in the Salvation Army band scene. In prison, Bubby refuses to cozy up to the warden, so the warden sends him to the cell of the animal, and he is sodomized. After that, he's given $10 and released. Bubby has some more disappointing experiences, talks to an atheist scientist, which is a bit of a bummer. Then grabs another tit and is beaten up by the woman and her friends. He returns home, unable to deal with the world. He finds Harold, his dead father's preacher clothes, and dons them along with a new persona, Pop, With a newfound swagger, he makes a new friend, a stray cat, sort of a garbage dump, and even reconnects with the rock band, taking to the stage and acting out some of his traumas from the past. Bubby, he's a hit, and the band want him to stay, but he says that he needs to go feed the cat. But Bubby can't catch a break, though, because he returns to the dump to find the cat killed by some local thugs. Bubby encounters Angel, a nurse who cares for people with disabilities, and he falls in with her and her patients as he's able to understand Rachel, one of her disabled patients. Things start to turn a little when Bubby and Angel become lovers, a relationship that begins in a charming way, with Angel bearing her huge breasts to Bubby while he's naked in the shower. Angel brings Bubby to meet her parents, and they're a real couple of peaches. They call her a fat slut, among other things, and cast Bubby out of their home. And so Bubby returns later and kills them both with cling wrap, and things work out well. He and Angel buy a little block and have a couple of kids, and that's about it.
Wow.
Well, this had a budget of $800,000. They only made $8,789 off this film, box office wise. So that it made almost $9,000. So that is a resounding box office failure, I would say.
That's obvious, though. Like this, I remember the video cover. Even it had terrible artwork. So the video cover was terrible. The poster was terrible. I'm sure the trailer was terrible. There is an audience for this movie, and the one thing that I guess we've never been good at in this country is marketing. We're not marketers. We're not sellers. That's not our thing. And this needed to be sold to. I mean, maybe don't even bother with the domestic market. Don't even bother with Australia.
It did very well on the festival circuit, and it took out a number of awards. It's one of those movies that has gained recognition and prominence through word of mouth, and through VHS rentals, I guess, because you'd hear about it and then you'd go and rent it,
Yeah, but they didn't help it at all. So, yeah, I buy that totally. I mean, it was never gonna. But then again, it's aggressively awful. Like, even if we took out everything that's majorly disgusting in it, every second person goes, "You fucking bastard! You bastard! You fucking bastard!" It's just like Adelaide looks like it sucks. By the way,
definitely.
This is not a glowing endorsement of Port Adelaide. By the way, where it was shot. Man, yeah, it looks grim.
Get off the road, you fucking greedy bastard! Get a little bastard, will you? You fucking poofed bastard!
You're right. Like, I even forgot it that he got raped in jail. Like,
Well, that's a nice bonus.
That's just
You know what I picked up this time in that rape scene that I hadn't picked up in maybe the 2 or 3 times that I'd watched it before, is the shit that's smeared all over the walls.
But it's artwork as well. Like, it's not just nothing. You actually look at it and you go, it's a double realization. You go, oh, that's excrement. That's great. And then the second part, you go, oh wait, it looks like artwork that the guy's done. So that is unspeakably awful. Very tough watch on a Tuesday night, by the way.
it was. I agree.
Yeah.
Where you're just trying to sit. Oh, I just got to knock this off. Like some people are curled up on the couch, just I don't know. They're watching Wednesday.
Watching maths.
Yeah, watching maths or watching Wednesday on Netflix and going, oh, catching up on something cute. Yeah, they're just scrolling on their phone. We're watching a guy get buggered,
Yeah, and that's down the list.
That is down the list.
Well, this is an experimental film. So the way they approached making this film had, a number of experimental elements. So, and director Rolf de Heer actually describes the film as one large experiment. So one thing they did is they had what's called binaural microphones that were sewn into the wig that Nicholas Hope wears, and sort of just above each ear. So that way you can get a sense. So what Bubby is hearing in a lot of the scenes you will hear what Bubby hears, because that's, it's kind of recording what his ears would have heard. And if you if you watch the film with headphones, you kind of get a sense of that with some of the sound. It's kind of the subtle sound design that's around him, which is quite interesting. So also the film used 31 individual directors of photography to shoot different scenes. So once Bubby leaves the apartment, a different director would shoot that particular scene, until about, I think, the last third of the film, where one DOP sort of takes over, and this was to allow an individual visual slant on everything Bubby sees for the first time. And you really get a sense of that when he first comes out and he's sort of first walking around, like the town of Port Adelaide, and the camera angles are sort of,
it's on a wide angle and we're askew.
And we kind of go from these off kilter camera directions.
It was also shot in sequence, right?
It was shot in sequence, and no director of photography was allowed to refer to the work of the others. So I think each DOP didn't see what was done previously. So.
Yes, mate, can I help you? You try that again, mate, I'm going to call the cops.
Fascinating stuff, and I think it all works really, because experiments are. I mean, we've done Dogma 95 with Von Trier's films, so we've seen experiments in action. And sometimes the experiments you go, okay, you're in love with the idea of the experiment rather than the film. And I think maybe my favorite thing about the experiment, all that stuff you just said, is that you can't really tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it works.
Yeah.
All of those things actually. I noticed the sound in a good way. I was like, he can't really hear his mum because he's looking at his dad's mouth. And so that DOP had decided to focus in on his dad's beard when he was talking early on, rather than just have a shot of his face. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. And then they've obviously, they've used maybe a bit of the sound from his headset, mixed it with other stuff. And so we're just hearing the dad mainly and not the mum. She's really off mic. You know what I mean? Like really off mic. So and I was like, this is really, actually, let me go further. In this era of, we got so much content now, right? So much content. Think of how much shit's on Netflix and Prime and Disney Plus. They're all like, we've got this, we've got that. Like, in fact, when people say watch this, you're kind of like, I hate you. Stop recommending me things. So, but what we don't have is a space for experiments. I mean, Oliver Stone says that Natural Born Killers is an experiment, or or Tony Scott's action movies were particularly very experimental with exposure and sound and everything. But I would argue this is not something that we get a lot of. Not really. It's we're focused a lot on other stuff. Like if you went into the meeting pumping up this stuff, they would not be down. They'd be like,
no,
what? But also particularly given how easy it would be to do experiments, because there's so much content, you could sort of take a bit of a hit and take a risk financially.
Well, that's why
to make something.
Twin Peaks season 3 is one of the most experimental things I've seen in years. No one's, everything from the length of scenes to how it shot, all of that stuff was the casting highly experimental. I just don't think we get enough of it.
Well, this film, I think this film says something about established authority. And so Bad Boy Bubby is fucked over by his parents. He's let down by the church and the Salvation Army and exploited by that one Salvation Army chick who basically rapes him. The police and the justice system fails him as well. So he's arrested, does some time in jail, but is let out to pretty much defend for himself. Whereas they could have maybe, I don't know, shipped him off to some sort of mental institution.
Is that where they go? Mental institution? Is that the word, AJ, that we use now? The booby hatch. That's what we should call it. The booby hatch.
No, the nut house.
The nut house, yeah.
Then you've got that atheist scientist / what is he, a power plant owner or something? Like, it's a bit ambiguous, like, who that guy is. Like, he doesn't help the situation either. But Bubby's embraced by the freaks and weirdos of the music community and by actual retards and their carers. Through his involvement in the band, he undergoes a type of music therapy in a way that allows him to function in the real world, kind of just. So one of the takeaways, I guess, is that punk rock can give you an outlet to heal and grow that traditional institutions like the church, when they don't give a fuck about you, But my question is, how would Bubby survive in 2023? Because rock is dead. And the musicians that exist today are in total lockstep with the establishment progressive ideology. Bubby strikes me as a bit of an anti-vaxxer. So having to show his vaccine certificate at music venues would pose a bit of a problem. And I know this is going to dip into the Me Too meter here a little bit, John, but his proclivity for fondling random breasts and singing endlessly about tits would also go against any band working in the scene today. That's even if there is a band scene in 2023. I'm not convinced there is. Where does Bubby go for salvation? Does he join BLM, Antifa? Would they accept him?
Maybe.
Well, if he's not a fucking bigot, then he should. I mean, I don't care what he's got going on.
He's got a good memory for dialogue, so he could parrot a lot of the phrases that someone at an Antifa rally or a BLM thing would yell out.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. There's a lot of points you raise in there. The band do exploit him as well, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Initially, maybe they love him at the end because he's the front man. I don't know what they're paying him or anything. But
paying him in pizza
because they're also sellouts as well. Like it's the way they've got cling wrap over their faces and stuff. It's in their third act, you're like, oh, okay, so they're sort of sellouts. But
in a way, Bubby made the band edgy and cool because before that they didn't really have a look or a direction or a sort of an onstage persona.
So you say it's a good partnership.
Well,
good fit.
Yeah, again, it depends. It depends how financially involved Bubby is with the whole thing. I mean, if they're paying him what he's worth.
Never anything. No. How about you? Got any money?
Oh, sure. Look at him. Searching.
Money. Do you have any money?
You greedy little cunt. I ain't got enough money to keep buying your milk.
Thanks, I take that, mate. Sit down and shut up.
Well, if that's all there is, we're stuffed.
Yeah, we're stuffed.
Christ.
Yeah, hilarious.
No money, no girls. It's enough to make you puke. And where's that fucking smell coming from?
Your fucking Fuck feet. That fucking smell. What about the fucking money?
Cut it out, Bubby. We're in the middle of a crisis.
Settle. It's okay, mate. Yeah, stay calm.
That be Mum.
What?
That be Pop. Then be Mum and Pop.
Is that your mother?
Bubby Mum.
And your father?
Nah, it wouldn't be him. Big shit. It wouldn't.
Take a look at this. There's his
Shit! Fuck!
That be Cat.
It was a cat.
But you're also right about this idea that music done changed. I mean, I guess we talked about this with Philip Kisserly a little bit about it in our interview recently on the New Flash. So in the 90s, again, shocking music was a thing. So we'd all be like, oh, have you heard of this band called Cannibal Corpse? Or have you heard of or it would even the slightly more mainstream later on, it's like, just in the late 90s, it was like, we loved Korn, we loved Limp Bizkit, we loved, just screaming and angry and Marilyn
even something
Manson.
like Smashing Pumpkins even.
Smashing
Definitely.
Pumpkins. But think of the beautiful people, the artwork in Manson's albums and stuff. So, or Tism. I was just thinking about Tism on the home front. If you're listening from overseas, an Australian band called Tism that wore masks, and they're just the names of their songs, like the 1993 EP Australia, the Lucky Cunt.
Who released that? That's a Tism.
That's Tism. Yeah. So they've just got their songs. I'm on the drug that killed River Phoenix, I believe was one of their songs and stuff. Oh, here we go. More C words coming. So, I might be a cunt, but I'm not a fucking cunt. Or www.tism.wanker.com. You know? So it's just it was a different time, and yeah, getting on stage and screaming about tits and saying and it being really transgressive. Whereas now, I honestly believe it's monkey see, monkey do. So the people, whatever they're singing, we listen to Clementine Ford or the Guardian or whoever, you know, has got a beef with it, and they go, they said these words, they want you to do those words, you know, like there's gone is any nuance or any transgression or any idea that the person singing or that there's a perspective different from the person singing. So it's just, I get that feeling. So I feel like it's interesting to see, because I watched this movie and when Bubby was singing on stage, I was like, you're like, oh, this is great. This is great. Yeah. He's getting his trauma out, and it was good what he was doing, you know. Yeah. And whereas now,
and you also see a little bit of an evolution in the act as well. Like that's sort of the end point was when he gets out the sex doll and stuff. Like then he's really like, you know, he's really putting on an act then.
He's got the priest collar on, and
people
in the audience too. And
You be a sexy woman, Flo. See right down your dress. You've got a great big woman's flow. We want to see them tits.
Yeah, so I feel that's another thing that's gone by the wayside and would be, and it's lost its place in the culture now, because you wouldn't be able to put that in a script, I don't think.
Could you do it if it was set in a previous era?
Yeah, I guess so. That's the only way you can get around anything. But then you've got to. Well, no, there's too many issues. Really, there's too many issues because the movie. I'll get all my negative stuff out of the way because the movie, the ability, the conflation of everything, it just kills this movie. So there's stuff in this movie that, you know, that I think back in the day would have been seen as good, like having disabled people in it is good, and you know, hearing a little bit about their issues and their struggles, seeing some of their treatments is good. We've got a couple of Indigenous characters. At one point, we've got some, they're all Indigenous issues also mentioned in that scene where the guy explains about this sort of big view of who's been fighting who in the West and the world. You know, so all of that stuff is seemingly good.
And the scene with the cops.
The scene with the cops, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, the driving ideology of the left or the woke or the progressive, radical progressivism undoes the whole thing, because all you have to do is say lived experience, stay in your lane. Those people, if they're going to be like, those disabled people, they're not allowed to be in the movie unless they're directing the movie and doing craft services. So they're doing everything behind, and it should be if you're going to make a disabled movie, everyone better be disabled who complete the whole thing. The financiers should be disabled as well.
Or they have to be the lead. Or they have to be the lead.
No, I'm assuming.
Not just a
I'm assuming that they're the lead. Like, you guys are bigots. I was assuming that they were the lead. So every one of these things needs to be, handled as in and of itself. You can't just be a tourist, because they call them a tourist. They go, oh, you're just using those, for a scene or two,
If we take him anywhere, they're going to lock him up, and I feel he shouldn't be locked up.
What is it, Rachel?
She think me should stay.
Is that what you think, Rachel?
What about the others? What do you think? Do you want Pop to stay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Whereas it's quite sweet, really, that he's the one that can understand them.
But that would they take issue with that, because that is a bit weird, like
well,
Bubby.
it's fucking weird. The movie's fucking weird.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But he's sort of like this retard whisperer, you know. He's a bit like Cesar, the dog whisperer. I don't know if you've ever seen that show where he comes over to your house. He's like this Chilean guy who's like a dog expert. And he can talk to your dogs and stuff, you know, sort out their issues.
Yes. No, well, they just, yeah. I mean, I can see the Vox articles. I can see the articles about this movie. They just say we've got a, you know, the bad boy Bubby has a disabled person problem, you know, and you'd go,
and we've got to talk about that.
And we've got to talk about it, you know.
Never mind the incest. That's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't care about that.
Who are we to judge, AJ? You know, if that's their identity.
If that's what they've been doing for 35 years, so
35 years. Hey, Nicholas Hope's good, hey? The lead actor. He is good. He's outstanding. Why isn't he big?
Yeah. We had this conversation a couple of days ago, John. Why isn't he big? Like, he should be Jeffrey Rush. Or Hugo Weaving. Like, he has a bit of a Hugo Weaving sort of
Definitely,
look.
yeah.
Yeah. But I listened to an interview that's on YouTube where he talks about he got very typecast. So he got a lot of the psycho roles or bizarrely priest roles as well. He's done a fair bit in Norway for some reason. But I think his autobiography is like Touching the Tip of Fame or something it's called.
I was unemployed for about 1.5 years after finishing with Bubby, but in that period I was being flown off to festivals, you know, picked up in limousines and taken to major festivals, and you'd walk in, they'd give you a bottle of champagne, and quite seriously, the film was a major festival hit. And what Bubby did was enable me. It was just an instant step into being able to work in film, because it became this cult hit. It got seen, it went to Venice, it went to all sorts of festivals, and I was its face. But it locked me off as well. So people have defined the kinds of roles that I can play. In Australia, it's been narrower than elsewhere. For some reason, the character has been taken as psychopathic, and so I get offered psychopaths. In the UK, I get priests and Eastern Europeans. The other main place of work that I've had, oddly enough, is Norway, and that's kind of just eccentrics. I get eccentrics over there.
But I guess this film, because this film was shocking, it still is shocking, really. But even back in the day, it was super shocking. So you do make your choices, like on some level. Like if you decide to do a movie like this, you can't sit around and say, why don't people just, you know, like, cause get on board, or why won't they let me play, Mr. Kelly? Why wasn't I Mr. Kelly? You know, actually, he might be able to play now. Have but
with his wang out.
Yeah, probably. So, you know, I mean, this film is just so high octane and so monstrous, and he does. I mean, the stuff he does in it. A couple of the things he does in it would be enough for an entire movie of someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually, I'll go as far as to say all of the stuff, any of the things he does in this, Jennifer Lawrence would complain for 10 years about this one of them. She'd just be like, oh, I can't believe they made me hold a dead cat or something and flop its head around. I can't believe that. And he's like, that was scene 3. Yeah. And I did scene 60, you know, I cling wrapped Angel's parents or, you know, or whatever. Got his wang out. Like, there's nothing he didn't do. And he actually went too far in terms of what he's able to do. So people would, I guess, just didn't know what to do. They're just like, I don't know what to do with this guy. Like, where, you know. Yeah. Because Rushy didn't do all that. Shine, he was a nutter and whatever. Maybe he showed his buns at one point. But he didn't do all this mad shit.
No, this is Nick Lev.
But he really went there, you know, and he talks in the interview, he talks about how he sort of built the character just thinking about what he would have been exposed to in that tiny world of his for the first 35 years. So he takes a lot of his physical mannerisms from Cats, so the way he gets down on the ground and stuff is like that. But also the way he observes people as well, like he's very quiet, and he'll study people first, and then and then imitate them, because that's kind of the only skill he has, because he can't. I don't know. He's not worldly. He hasn't read anything. He can't read or write. He's never been to school. So it's like it's a very physical sort of thing.
And very clever that they've only used the dialogue. He only ever says things that he's heard people say.
Yeah,
that's very clever. Until the end, I think he starts being generative at a point later on.
Yeah.
But there is, for most of the movie, I mean, that shows a level of integrity that a lot of people don't have, because you could easily just go, oh well, like he could say that, it's a simple thing. We need him to say, "Can I please have a cream bun?" or something.
Yes, yeah.
But no, someone would say that. This continuity person would be like, "Can't he just say that? Can't he?" It's pretty much the same. And you've got to go, okay, shut up. So no more talking from you. So it's got to be exactly what the woman said.
But the only way that works is if you shoot it in sequence as well, because you would get you would need to know what those people said, and because he imitates them as well, he needs to have seen that performance before he can do it.
Great. Yeah.
So they couldn't have shot any of the later stuff where he's imitating his dad on stage, for instance, if he hadn't worked with that actor and shot those scenes of his pop back in the squalid house.
Hey, son. You can call me Pop. I'm your Pop. Pop. He's getting the idea. Pop. Pop. Yeah. All right, don't go making a big thing of it.
But I think this brings up an interesting question, and that is Bubby mentally challenged, or is he a product of his upbringing? Like the nature or nurture. Because all the reviews and all the synopsises and stuff I've read, they say he's like mentally challenged.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's purely because he had no interaction with anyone. His mum was abusive. He's never been outside of that room. Like, how do you know what his potential would have been?
AJ, mental or not?
Pretty mental.
There you go. Well, no, I'm with you. I think that's a good point. Like, because I think they're being unfair. Like they're saying he's like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's been raised in a different world for 35 years, and what do you expect?
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And they still call him a kid.
Yeah, they do. Well, I think Dahir, you're going to say that Dahir originally wanted a kid in the story?
He did,
yeah.
But he knew he'd never get away with it.
Even he knew he was never going to get away with that.
It's fucking crazy.
But I think this is better. Like to think of 35 years living like that. That is like truly awful. Really,
Yes.
Like it's bad enough if it's a little kid, but he was a little kid originally, so you get that, plus you get this other thing, which is like,
and it's dreadful as well, because his potential has been squandered. Like he's what we term as his youth has been stolen in its entirety. He's now middle aged, pretty much.
Yeah,
and so yeah.
What the fuck? The kid's completely cracked.
You're a weirdo. You're a sexy woman, Flo.
Am I? Thank you.
God, you've got great tits. Great big whoppers of things. One of the 7 wonders of the world, Flo. It's perfection.
Oh, Bubby. My little boy.
Gates of paradise.
Is it telling me, Harold? Jesus Christ! Fuck me! Get the fuck out of here, you mad bastard!
You mad bastard!
Fucking cunt! You get the bastard out of here!
Got lovely
You
skin.
sexual pervert! Get the cunt out of here! Get out of here! Get out of there! You dirty fucking...
Well, I've got 2 questions here. When Angel gives birth at the hospital with Bubby's child, why are there fans of his stage act watching through the window, filming?
Yes.
Which I don't think I picked up originally, but in this viewing, I'm like, who are these people? Why are they there? Do hospitals have big ground floor windows like that where people can just watch you give birth?
I really hope not.
Oh, we'll get the cameras ready, John.
Yeah. No, you don't want anyone
No
around.
thanks.
You want those windows blacked out.
As my mum says, it's not your finest hour.
No, it's not. No, that's a good point, Ricky. I thought that was, they were opportunistic because they saw everything you could see.
But why is that? Why is that in the film? Just another crazy element or something?
I don't know. It's keeping the fans alive in the scene, so we know that because they're wearing his outfit
still
and stuff.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, we know that he's still part of the rock band, obviously.
Okay.
Whereas
2023, you would just film it, and put it on Instagram.
Just make TikToks. Just cut it up.
Yeah.
Put some beats to it.
Yeah, exactly.
My other question, which probably dips into all of our segments here, and that is, how does Bubby get so much clunge?
Oh, seriously.
How is this possible?
The first chick's hot.
Yes.
The Salvation Army chick is hot and young, and he is fresh out of that squalid place.
He would
stink.
Stink.
Has he ever brushed his teeth?
Did you look at his fingernails when he was eating the pizza?
Yes.
It's fucking disgusting.
Lick your tongue. Yeah, now lick me here. Here, dummy. Oh, Christ, that prickles. When I want to feel close to my special friend Jesus, I sing him a very special song. You want to hear it? Leih mir dein Ohr, erhöre mich, weil ich habe.
But maybe this is, I don't know. Like maybe he's got the Kavorka, He's got that thing,
The charisma shines through.
Yes. Yeah. No, those are good. Those are great questions. Just while I'm here, I'll just do nurses not wear bras?
Yeah,
or,
I had that in my notes.
AJ, do they just can they just go whoop and then there they are?
Well,
or?
and Flo didn't either, so that's why I was into it. Mama.
Yeah, you're a sexy woman, Flo.
Yeah.
And in some of the reading about this movie and everything, I've read the word fondling a lot. Like fondling isn't a word because I feel particularly in this era of ours, it's either, it's probably rape is what you'd say. You'd say he raped me and you go, what happened?
You wouldn't say it, rape. You'd say, he R'd her.
He R'd her, yeah. Who'd want to R her?
Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah. The people don't say that anymore. No.
Okay, well.
Fucking hell.
Well, on YouTube, you've got to say grape. Because I remember they used to, on Pearly Things, on her.
Oh, they block that, do they?
Yeah, well, she gets everyone to say grape.
Well, and so that must be an
algorithm thing.
That, YouTubers.
But then I'm assuming that eventually grape will then be.
Yeah, like the word groomers.
Be cancelled.
That word's cancelled and then you just say something else. Yeah, totally. Well, anyway, when does fondling become groping is what I want to know. And when do you get this charming word fondling like assigned to you? And when is it, because I'm fond of you, Ricky, fondling, fond.
It makes him sound like a little scamp.
Yeah, it's scampish. yeah. It's not like,
In a way, and I'm not sure if this is dictionary definition tied or not, but fondling is sort of more gentle, and a grope would be a bit more aggressive. Maybe
like a wooga, a wooga.
that is a grope. Well, what's that movie where the guy runs into the chick and accidentally grabs both her boobs, and then she says, "Can you move your hands?" And he just sort of moves them round and around.
Is that a Jim Carrey movie?
What movie is that? I don't know.
That sounds like I remember that. Great stuff. Can you move your hands?
Someone write in and tell us what movie that's from.
Where'd you get those creepers? Creepers. Where'd you get those eyes? 'Cause y'all get up.
All right, it's that time, AJ. Let's do it. So, what do we got? We got Nicholas Hope as Bubby. We're going to go straight for it. Now, on the lean side, okay.
Tall?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Fairly sparse hair, but he's doing his best with it.
Yeah.
Sparse on top, but not everywhere else.
Yeah, like I just feel like he's doing trying to do something.
Full bush.
For a long while, he didn't get out much. He likes pizza.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So that's a definite tick.
He's into animals.
Animal lover.
He's into
I
animals.
don't want to think about my cats.
Yeah, well, you just got to educate him a bit, maybe. But he's into animals. Lot of energy. So he'll run you ragged, I think. No chill. That's the energy he's bringing. Playful guy, good with kids as well. So if you ever, in fact, he'll forget you're there, just be running off the kids. But look, let's just get to it. This one hinges on whether you like stimulating conversation or not.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So I'm not going to... I just think that's really what it comes down to with him. So you just put him aside for a second. That's Nicholas Hope as Bubby.
Okay.
Ralph Cotterill as Pop. Or Harold. But if that's his name, you can call him Pop.
Okay.
Not Father of the Year. But then again, we've all made mistakes.
He's trying to make up for it.
He's trying to make up for lost time, and that's got its own...
Only if he's not a poofter. I liked when he said, I'll disown you. And he hasn't been around for 35 years. If he's a poofter, I'll disown him. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Why can't a man have standards?
Great loss.
Anyway, loves a drink and a smoke.
That's true. It's fun guy.
Fun guy. He's not a wowser, that's for sure. Loves a laugh. Okay, so he's always up for a laugh. Which is
ticking a lot of boxes.
Well, there you go. Now he's not just a boob man; he is a boob scholar, which I can respect. Okay, so he is a man who knows what he wants in that respect.
One of the 7 wonders of the world.
That's right.
Well, he's a worldly man. Then he must have travelled.
Yes. Tit worship in this movie. A lot of tit worship.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's not about that 9 to 5 rat race. Which neither are we really.
No.
We don't like that jam. Neither does he. So he makes his own rules. He's his own boss. So
Yeah,
I feel like you got a good sense of Pop. So talk to me.
Ticks.
I know. Well, it's keeper or creeper. We've got Bubby and we've got Pop. Talk to me, AJ. What do we got?
Look, Bubby, I can see past it. I can see that he's a good-looking guy underneath.
Wow.
Underneath the wig.
Have you ever been out with a guy who's like really dumb?
Yeah, of course.
just checking.
He could be a bit of a project though, like a
That's true.
fixer upper. You can do a makeover on him, and
That's true. And and he'll just parrot what I say. So do I want that?
Hey, you know what? He could do your makeup for you too.
That's true.
Because he does it for his mum.
Yeah. Princess
Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he only makes love cowgirl. So
that's true. So
he doesn't.
I'm doing
he wants
the writing.
He wants you in charge.
Yeah.
So I don't know
So
whether
that's a lot of
good.
work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work when you think about it.
But he's good at direction, like with the Salvation Army chick. She's
Yes.
telling him exactly what to do. And
Yes.
He's enjoying eating that puss.
I think we're close. I think we're close to a keeper. Well, is it a keeper? Is it a keeper?
I can't say that Bobby's a keeper.
You just
I
can't say. You can't say the word.
I can't have my reputation in tatters.
Oh, so that is a creeper.
He got close.
Can't say it.
Oh, now, just but on Pop, did I mention that he's about 60, 65? did I mention
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I just wanted you to know, just in case you were thinking, he was 48 or something. He's not. He's old.
He's old.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And he doesn't have great teeth.
I should have mentioned the teeth he's got. Yeah, but
Yeah.
look, it's the era. He grew
It's
up
true.
back in the day when it was just, they put a bit of fucking mercury in your mouth or whatever, and they went, there you go, off you go.
Yeah. I can't be with Pop.
Yeah.
I can't have a good conscience and say that I want to. He's definitely a creeper. This week was hard.
Creeper sweep. I feel like I should have included all the filmmakers as well. And you go, creeper. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, Rolf to hear you naughty tit wizard.
But for writing this, come on, man.
And to spend 10 years writing it too.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Dad, so do you know what? Well, anyway, that's a creeper sweep. Many apologies. The journey continues.
Where did you get the
But I mentioned after Creeper last week that little comment about it being the era of chicks with dicks, which I stand by. But here you do get a sense that this is the late stages, maybe the apotheosis of tit era.
Big titties.
Big titties, talking about tits. Like, it's just... In fact, if someone was talking about it this much now, everyone would be like, "Oh, shut up! Like, what are you talking so much about tits?" I mean,
I think this film is just an excuse for Rolf de Heer to just like get into boobs. Like, he's just a boob man.
I guess so. And real, I mean, we'll get into it later. We should probably talk about, just scenes and moments. I mean, what do we got? What are we talking about here?
Oh, well, the animal stuff is really confronting. Like, initially when he's got that cat tied up and he's
on a string,
which playing with it and stuff.
Pretty painful.
Poking it with a stick and whatever. And it did compel a few people to walk out of the premiere, I believe. But, I mean, they claim everything was all above board and whatever, which I believe. Like, they had RSPCA people involved and whatever.
90s ones.
That's really hard.
Loose 90s ones.
Well, at least it's not the 70s. I mean, if it was the 70s, they would cling wrap. Would have cling wrapped the cat.
They would have,
Be still. Be still. Be still, you little cunt! My Christ, I'll beat you brainless. Can't come outside, because no gas mask. And Bubby die!
It was shorter, though, than I remembered the first half hour or whatever. It didn't feel like it went for as long as those scenes stick with you. So I was imagining that he was in the house a lot longer.
I feel like I'm with you with that sentiment overall. It seems shorter to me. What I've left out of everything I've said is that this movie is 100% engaging. Like it is masterful. Like, beautiful acting from our lead, awesome directing. But it's the content that's so repellent and at times, or challenging at best. So even the beautiful things are challenging. But then once it turns and you really do start to see the sunlight through the clouds, the strengths of the movie really do show themselves. So I guess I agree with you. This rocketed along really. Like, it's almost 2 hours really.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice it because it's so engaging.
There are a few scenes that I think are weird and maybe weird in a shitty way, like when that guy cuts down the tree.
Oh yeah.
And like, it's early on when he's out and he's transfixed by this tree, and I think he puts some of the leaves in his mouth or whatever, and some guy just rocks up and goes, "Oh mate, I can chop that tree down. Oi, get out of the way. What are you, fucking faggot or whatever?" He says, "Oh, chop your prick off." Like, it's just too much. Like, I mean, would you interact with someone off the bat like that?
Yeah, but is he interacting with him like that though? Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a documentary, and you need to question what you're seeing. We're seeing it it could be a style of performance, or it's very subjective. We've got binaural mics, we've got very subjective camera work. So I would argue that the way that guy was acting is probably not what he was doing in real life, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like it's Bubby's interpretation of the interaction. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's me being very generous, but I've seen that. I mentioned Natural Born Killers earlier. Oliver Stone would just give you a different cue. So in Natural Born Killers, it goes to black and there's a lot of different film stocks, but that scene would be filmed like 4 different ways, and then like that reading that you don't like of the guy's performance would maybe be done in black and white, and then he'd be doing it differently in color, and then it would cut to the black and white one, which would kind of be an inner moment of how it feels or something, you know what I mean? So we're just getting that extra cue of like, okay, all right. Whereas there's none of that here. It's just like, is this you know, is it real? Is it not? I mean, yeah. On another level, it could just be maybe it's no good. I don't know.
Hey, piss off out the way, mate. I gotta cut this street in. Hey, you fucking deaf? You're a queer looking rooster, aren't you? What are you, fucking one of them greenies? Hey, come on, fuck off. I'll cut your prick off. You fucking idiot. Go on, get out of it.
And for me, I think the bandmates are a bit weak.
Yeah, they've come across as real band people.
Yeah.
I guess
100%.
so, but I don't know. I think from an acting point of view, I think they're probably the weakest part of the film.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care for them very much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No good. Well, hairy armpits on several of the girls, and AJ, you know what? I liked it.
The waitress.
Obscene. I just looked at. I was like, oh, you naughty minx, you know. I'll have a Supreme, please. That's what I wanted to say to her. That's my jam. That girl is nothing like, because I've got this sort of boring Scottish heritage, you know. So when I see that type of Mediterranean sort of thing, I'm just, you know, like sort of European thing. I'm like, very good. You know?
Very good.
Very good.
So, John, what about scenes for you? What sticks out?
The shot of Bubby looking at the city is beautiful. It's sort of a very difficult to do in the 90s as well. So, you see a similar shot in Heat when they're looking at the city, and they've tried to do it on location there. It's like a wide angle of Adelaide at night, so it's pitch black except for just the lights, and then on the very far side of the frame, you've got Bubby overlooking it, and they've tried to light his face up, but when you've got the camera that wide at night, you need a shitload of light. So they would have had a huge light on him to light him up, and still he's dark. So the way that they solved this in Collateral, or Michael Mann solved the problem in Collateral, is by doing it on digital. In digital, you can see the city and your people all in the same shot, but you can't on film. So it's something and on Heat, the way they solved the problem. How did they solve it in Heat? Studio. They shoot the city, and then we put De Niro and Amy Brenneman in the there as if they're overlooking it.
I think you can tell. I don't think that scene. It does look like a green screen to me in Heat.
In Heat, yeah, I buy that. Of course, and he wouldn't have been happy with that. But in his mind, he's like, I want the city and them. How do I get the city and them? You know, you can't. So that shot was for a $800,000 movie in the 90s. This was an awesome shot for me. I loved that. Love all that. But other than that, I think it's just I think the dungeon sequence is a movie into itself. Like that first part of the film is legendary in its grotesquerie. It kind of should end when he leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
You know? The walls have just got filth dripped all over them. You know, it's got that 7 level of
definitely
of grossness and detail.
Of grime.
Well, apparently it actually did stink quite badly because the production crew made it kind of damp. They'd put a lot of water everywhere, so it started to really, really stink. Yeah. What really gets me is the ending. Like, Bubby has such a shit family and childhood, and then to see him at the end with sort of a beautiful family of his own and kind of playing outdoors, not indoors as well, you know, really kind of busts me up.
They don't let us get it for free though. Like, it's there's no swelling music, if memory serves. There's no. They don't really.
Oh, they do play that Handel
Sure,
classical music,
yeah,
which is quite stirring.
which is nice, but they don't do it. They don't shoot it the way Spielberg would shoot it. It's in a long shot, and you know what I mean. Like it's which is true to the film. Like it's not like they didn't really. They could have gone for Oscar Gold and made it like Awakenings or something where you really just get down and film it in that typical Hollywood style, you know.
Yeah.
With him crying about being
where
aware
it's just
of what he's
over
doing.
the credits.
That's right.
Like whatever.
Well, what do you guys think about that sort of that I guess teachable moment that happens between his bandmate and him, where the bandmate kind of sings an Islamic chant and then he kind of gives this morality tale outlining like how people have been fighting each other for thousands of years and explaining how Muslims have cling wrap Jews and Christians cling wrap Australian Aborigines, and I think he's got Hindus and Buddhists in there too. Like, when I initially saw it, I don't know. I don't know whether I was convinced it was good, but then watching it again, because I went back just to watch that scene because I was a bit confused by it. I don't know. I'm warming up to it a bit more. But what did you guys think?
Yeah, well, it's important because it's him. Someone's trying to teach Bubby about what's really going on in the world and how it works. How the geopolitics and the movements of civilizations, how it actually works. So I admire that. I mean, some of the particulars over time, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's a pre-internet era, so this is only learned and educated people spoke in that way back then. Now you could go on Reddit and learn some of that, and it's different. It's different. Having that amount of knowledge back then, not that and that it would be really out of step back then if you were at a barbecue and someone brought up that shit.
Yeah.
Because now you can speak to a normal person. They're like, I was listening to this guy Jordan Peterson podcast. He was talking about like the self, like it's not something that would have happened back then.
Yes. Well, I guess for me, and this goes back to who Bubby is. Like he's basically a child, so you sort of have to pitch that spiel, that tale to him on that sort of a level. But yeah, it was just a bit saccharine in terms of its
It was Pinko. Pinko lefty.
It was.
Yeah.
90s. Like it was the modern equivalent. You wouldn't like the modern equivalent of Rolf de Veer's views back then. Back then, you'd be like, oh yeah, but like the modern equivalent of it would be everything you'd expect.
But I guess it fit like with the church stuff and then the weird factory stuff and
what I would like, because I would like a movie to be as critical of radical progressivism and things like that as they are of the church. So all the whack you give to the church and all of that detail and all that stuff, let's do it. Let's go all the way on everything. Then the right and the left. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Beautiful, isn't it? Fantastic. And yet, this mob have been trying for centuries to cling wrap this mob, even though they share the same God. Mind you, this mob have been getting pretty good at cling wrapping lately. And this mob's got the same God as well. But they've had a fair go at cling wrapping that first mob. They've been trying to cling wrap that second mob for a good couple of thousand years. And they pretty well succeeded in cling wrapping just about all of this mob, who never did much cling wrapping to anyone but themselves. And then there's this lot, a different God altogether. You'd think that would help, but it doesn't. See, this mob cling wrapped about 500,000 of that first mob 40 or 50 years ago, and they've been at it ever since. They've all done their fair share of killing or being killed, and it's all pointless. The thing, Bubby, is don't be like them. No matter how mad you get at someone, don't kill them. Ever.
Maybe Rolf de Heer could have balanced that, because there is an undertone of sort of Christian critique there, that he could maybe balance that out by making the band more exploitative or like they could be sprouting all this, I guess, 90s lefty stuff, but also be awful people themselves, maybe.
Or they could have turned him in at the start to get the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then release their first album or whatever.
Yeah. And then still afterwards bring him on board.
Well, the first album fails and then they get him in. I think we've actually improved after his movie. I think those are actually genuinely better ideas.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
All right, look, we got to launch it. We got to do this Me Too meter. All right, we got to get into it. Okay, so. Heavens to Bechdel, you know what we do here with this Bechdel test. It comes from a graphic novel back in the day. Basically, this test is an informal way to evaluate bias against women in films and other media. A work is said to pass the Bechdel test if it has two named women who talk to each other about something other than a man. All right, so we've got Angel's mother and her talking about weight loss. Does that count? No. Okay, well, the groupies don't speak to each other directly, not the way I want them to anyway. So I don't know. I think it might be a fail. All right, just some quick charges here. We do is a searing portrayal of a man abused and lied to his whole life, and his maturation as he comes to terms with the abusive world we live in. From the way we treat the mentally ill, the disabled, the homeless, animals. Bubby learns kindness, to care, and even to love in the end. He learns to love, all right. He loves his cis white privilege. Bad Boy Bubby is actually the story of white patriarchal hegemony. It's the women in his life who shave him and wash him, by the way. You think about that, AJ, all right? This balding mentalist is able to live in one dirty room for 35 years, and the minute he's out, he is able to prosper infinitely more than women, POC, BIPOC, BAME, LGBTQ folks, and even the Latinxes, Ricky, okay?
Yes.
He gets a wife and family. He's given a free pass by the justice system for his crimes, and I have no doubts that he will end up running a Fortune 500 company and taking a woman's job in the future. And don't give me this, oh, he was sexually abused by his big fat mum, or, oh, he was ruthlessly buggered by a cellmate. He grabbed titties, okay? That's not on. We've cancelled people for less, all right? And I'm here for Flo also. She's an old disgusto and a BBW. Ricky, where's her flag? She's just into some stuff that you cis-het pigs aren't into. Like furries, it's the same deal. I mean, what's the big deal here? Let her live her life, all right?
Healthy at any size.
That's right. Rolf de Heer takes his opportunity, so don't worry. His camera manages to find the gorgeous curves of two groupies, along with the Salvos girl at the start, with their young, heavenly features, filling our senses and causing us to become harder than cement. Yes, I think you get the picture. Some could say that Angel abuses Bubby by showing him her big fat whoppers, as they're referred to. But she was merely doing what he, the patriarchy, demanded her to do. So you get it straight, okay? And all the social justice cues in the film can't hide the fact that there are no trans or non-binary representatives in the film. The only proud queer person is jailed, probably simply for existing or something. That's the real crime here, is what I'm saying.
Well, and all the puff to talk.
Yeah, well, there's some harsh language in there, which I don't appreciate either. Anyway, that's the charges I have. I mean, what else jumps out at you? Anything grab you?
Well, I don't know if this is a positive, but he rejects the
small
supple boobies of the young in favour of old sagging footy socks. So
footy socks.
I don't. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative.
I actually don't know.
Or maybe it is just is what it is.
I know that JP would say, sorry, not beautiful.
That's true.
But, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah.
I think this is another 10.
Yeah.
It can't not be a 10.
Yeah, this is 10.
So I think that's an Australia Day sweep of films that make it to 10 on the Me Too meter. I don't know whether we've ever had 3 in a row of films that
well, right up your cobber.
I am not as nasty as racism, fraud, conflict of interest, homophobia, sexual assault, transphobia, white supremacy, misogyny, ignorance, white privilege.
I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
So, just quickly while we're here, AJ, the boobometer quantity, we're given 4 full frontals and 1 side boob. They're not quick flashes either. Lingering views, I'd say. Lingering. Quality, naughty salvo chick, side boob, and 2 groupies offer us young, healthy bosom. Full, welcome,
natural.
It's the eyes closing every week that gets me when you're reliving it.
And Angel is a good sport, and we see her great whoppers. She's the naughty nurse, which is nice. However, we are, for better or worse, shown endless views of Flo's big old titties, which is deeply, deeply upsetting, even without the abuse element. In fact, I feel it was us who were abused here. So, it's a half slide whistle today. I think of those lines from Marlon Brando at the end of Apocalypse Now a little bit. You know, when I think of Flo, the horror.
Okay, let's have some trivia. The people with cerebral palsy Bubby meets are not actors, but actual disabled people, which is, I think, is pretty obvious. Yeah. Hope, who was raised Catholic, found the scenes where Bubby curses God in front of Angel's parents difficult to film, apparently. So after he heard a rumour about the reintroduction of the death penalty to Australia, Rolf de Heer was angered and rewrote the ending so that Bubby would be executed at the end of the film. This ending was scrapped when the rumour proved false. So an interesting...
Reactionary.
Yeah.
He's just like, I hate that.
After 10 years.
Okay. And then he's like, I'll just have him have a family then.
Well, the death penalty exists, in other parts of the world still. So, I mean, he could have done it. It would have been, an interesting thing to do. But maybe too much of a punch to the crotch, like after everything that happens in Bad Boy Bubby, I think it would push it over to Dancer in the Dark territory, So... Bad Boy Bubby became... yeah, just a light one there. Bad Boy Bubby became a hit in Norway, second only to Forrest Gump, with Hope an actor in demand there. This movie came out in the same year as Forrest Gump, and I think this is like the anti-Forrest Gump, don't you think? And I think hindsight proves this one, I think, to be much more interesting, and maybe will stand the test of time more than Forrest Gump. Like, I can't take Forrest Gump anymore.
And I don't like it either now. I saw a great meme from yesterday. It had Jenny looking out the back of the bus, and it said, "Bye, Forrest. I'll see you again when you're a shrimp billionaire and I've got AIDS, and when I'm a single mother with AIDS."
Well, the feral cat killed in this movie was killed humanely by a vet and not suffocated as depicted in the movie with the cling wrap. The same cat was used both when it was alive and after it had been put to sleep. So that thing he carries around, all in cling wrap, is the dead cat.
That's fun.
I don't have time to get into it.
The kitten that gets killed later in the movie was not feral and was not really killed either. It was only sedated.
Oh, that's good. I feel happy. I mean, it's terrible, but he's still alive. That's good. Makes me happy.
So this is an interesting bit here. my last bit of trivia, and that is the original idea was for the first half of the movie, that's where Bubby's in the house, to be shot with the left and right sides matted to make the viewer feel more claustrophobic. So that would make the image a very small square, essentially. And then when Bubby finally goes out, the picture was going to expand wider into full screen. But Rolf de Heer decided not to do this because he felt it made the first half of the movie unwatchable. It is a really interesting idea, but you would lose a lot of the room, of seeing that Disgusto room, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Great trivia.
So moving on to reviews, I've got 2 here, starting with David Stratton, who is, I guess, one of our most well-known film critics here in Australia. And for the movie show, he praised Bad Boy Bubby. He awarded the film 5 stars out of 5, remarking that, "I really think this is one of the finest and most original of all Australian films that I've seen. I really think it's a milestone in Australian cinema." And then my next review comes from The Guardian, a guy called Luke Buckmaster, which sounds like a porn name to me. In 2014, he called it a cattle prodder to the senses. He said, "Australian cinema is rarely as out there as De Heer's bizarre excursion into suburban sorrow, a mixture of grungy art film, fish-out-of-water black comedy, and kitchen sink drama as imagined by Kafka. If the film has a message, it's probably to emphasize the nurture versus nature argument, the idea we are all, to some extent, perhaps larger than we may care to admit, products of our own environment. Bad Boy Bubby is also one of Australia's most unflinching portraits of mental illness. It is intimately focused on a dangerously unwell man whose disturbing behaviour is not his fault."
I don't think he recommended it to his Guardian co-workers.
No, I don't think so. Kept it on the lowdown.
No, he did, yeah.
All right, well, I think it's a great movie, very original, and it was a tough watch, but rewarding. So, that's
we recommend everyone see it.
It's on Netflix. It's on Australian Netflix, and I think it's on Prime as well.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
that is great. I'm glad it's on streaming.
That is the end of our Australia Day celebration / flagellation for this year. We'll see you again next year for that. So we move on. AJ. Next week first, it's Mano. I believe we are doing. Well, actually, we're doing one more Australian film for that. We're doing Romper Stomper. So we're
glad
trying to
I'm
get
not there for this one.
some male energy.
Yes,
for that one. And then after it is, you better get ready, okay? It is Black History Month. Black History Month. All right?
I hate this
Are
one.
you ready?
No.
Capitalize that B, AJ. just like the New York Times does. It's time for Black History Month. And you know that when we dip into that, it's almost... it's a dangerous game. So so play it with us. Play along.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
Of course you can't. Go.
Well, I believe we said what we said.
So we said?
Yeah, this week wasn't too bad, I feel. Like it's like the movie's offensive, so we can't be crazy.
I feel like Fortress was more offensive. Like we were more offensive.
Yeah, I think so.
True.
Ooh, yes. Well, yes, we said, and until next time, long live the new flesh.
Long live the new flesh.
With their young, heavenly features, filling our senses and causing us to become harder than cement. Ooh. Yes, I think you get the picture. We've cancelled people for less. All right?